Good evening and welcome to another day of SSL Premier, sponsored by Jenner and brought to you by me, Valdez, and that guy's hair and Rapid. So
that guy's hair was actually way up there.
I know he just came on camera for just a second. Rapid, it was a lot of fun, but we're here to bring you another day. Wolf, he's still in China doing other stuff. He'll be back next week. So how are you feeling, Rapid?
Feeling pretty good. I believe that they're going to put us on Korean TV here in a second.
You're prepared.
So I am prepared. This is like my one big moment, but I'm actually feeling pretty good. I know I was just here a few days ago with you casting SSL Challenge, and I don't get to come back for Premiere because usually Wolf is here, but he is on an airplane on his way back to the land of the morning calm as we speak. So, of course, wish a safe flight to Wolf, and of course, thank you all for tuning in tonight for what should be some pretty good games. I know we've got Innovation versus Dark coming up as probably our feature game of the night. I know a lot of people think Dark's going to get wrecked, but I think he might put up a little bit more of a fight. Innovation, of course, it's always bad move to bet against him.
Yeah, I think that's really the reason. You know, Dark, he's proven that he does belong in Premier, and he has stayed here even after going through the fast lane after being in Premier for one season. But Innovation, as we said last time, he's kind of proven that he's a tier above the rest, and that's kind of hard to do when there's 10 other players and guys were going on Korean TV. I know Rapid's got something really nice prepared. Oh! Everybody really liked that. So
yeah, well, I mean, Wolf's gone, so I have to do my Korean memes instead of him just to fit in. So there you go.
You did very, very well. It seems like you won the hearts of all the fans.
2 new followers on Twitter, Valdez.
Already.
Making it happen.
Like, what's this guy's Twitter? I got to follow him right away.
I'm here to cast StarCraft. No way, man. I got to get the followers. But to be honest, I looked on Twitter, and there's a couple of like pro gamers, like a Forte. I have more followers than him on Twitter.
Whoa.
I'm at least like 1/1,000,000th as good as him. So go out there, follow your favorite pro gamers. That's my shill for the day. But we should actually be getting into our next overlay, which is going to tell us about the results from last week's games. I know you were here for that. I was not. I was in the audience watching. You
saw what was going on.
Right. I came in right in time to watch Solar lay the smackdown on, I think it was Bio. So that was not a close series. It was a quick 2-0.
Yeah.
And we actually get a chance to see both of those guys play because unlike in SSL Challenge, we can see every one of our 10 players play every week in SSL Premier. And so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and this first matchup, herO versus Solar, you were talking about Solar. He's looking better and better. He did go down to stats in his first match, so even though he's known as the ZVP monster, he might have a little bit of trouble against herO. I'm still favoring him coming into this one. herO doesn't look as comfortable coming into Premier, but
that's right.
I think it's still going to be a close match after all.
Also, just in online tournaments, herO's PVZ has not been looking like his strongest matchup by far, and I think Solar really has kind of found his home in the SSL. You know, everybody has kind of a league that they just really all in and focus on. Solar, in this case, is what we would call the anti-TY, where he really just cares about SSL Challenge and well, Premier in this case. So let's go ahead and get into our matches for today. herO versus Solar is, of course, coming up first. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Apparently we have videos for those things.
Yeah, we got some sick videos to intro these players, but that's okay. You've got it down from here on out, Rapid. Here's Hyunggung. Of course, our announcer is going to help us introduce these two players. We'll get the stats on screen in just a second. What are you feeling about for this matchup? Do you have any prediction for this one, Rapid?
I don't know. When we were casting SSL Challenge last season, we just got a chance to see herO just absolutely dominate the field. However, that was a field that only included one Zerg player, Losira. And when he insta-promoted to Premier this season, he has to face a much harder pool of players. So I'd like to think that Solar is probably a little bit in the favor, but herO definitely can never count that guy out, even though he is kind of struggling with a mediocre score here. It's a mediocre score, by the way, which has earned him 900,000 won. So, you know, it can't really be that mediocre. And, of course, way up at the top, and a guy we'll get to see a little bit later on, of course, a still flawless scoreline from Innovation.
Yeah, and looking at the other guys that are 2-0, Classic and Deer, they're going head-to-head as the last match of the night, so that's going to be an exciting PvP to witness at the end of today. And I don't know, I feel like for this matchup, I did predict Solar to win, but I this would be the one match that we would have an upset in, like a quote-unquote upset. I know there are people out there that are definitely feeling the herO coming into this one, but I think he's the underdog, like objectively coming into this, so I think this would be the one matchup where I would expect an upset compared to the other matchups.
Yeah, I mean, we got a chance to see, who is it? Solar play up against his teammate Stats a couple weeks ago, and he looked super good, although that was a pretty close matchup. So at least if you're considering that historically, we've already gotten a chance to see what his PBZ is like for herO. Some questions still left to be answered. So just really excited to get into this as our first match. I think most of today's matchups looked a little bit more even, or at least when I was looking at the global voting polls. Still a lot of fans voting for herO. And of course, after his 2-1 against Dark, you know, maybe that's sensing a higher trajectory for him coming into today's match.
Yeah, this is the real test, though, coming into Premier. We were talking about how he sailed through Challenge. He only lost one series, and I think that was against Deer in that wacky PvP. So he hasn't really been tested too much. He did defeat Dark, as you were talking about, with the 2-1, but outside of that, I think he still has to prove himself here in Premier. I was really excited for him when he crushed Challenge and came through. I thought he was going to do really well in Premier, but then he got crushed by Innovation. That was another game where we were like, holy crap, Innovation is really just crazy strong. Same
thing happened to this guy in the finals last season. Made it all the way there and then got crushed by him, or by Innovation as well. So, of course, this time around, there is no Innovation in this match. It's just going to be a PBZ, and one that I think herO is a little bit of an underdog coming into this. Solar feels very comfortable. He's looking great in his results, so this might be a little bit of a challenge. So let's go ahead and get into it. I don't think did we get a chance to see the maps that we're playing on?
Oh, we did. They come on when Hyungung is opening her own small show over there. So the first map is going to be Ascension to Ire for Solar versus herO.
All right, really excited to see this Ascension to Ire, of course, a new map for this pool, and it'll be sticking around for our next map pool. So really cannot wait to get into our first match of the night, Solar versus herO.
Here we go, starting off game number 1, Fly Better Fly, Jin Air.
It always takes a few matches for our crowd to get our cheers going on, but this is our Protoss player in the yellow. It is Team Root's herO. Root Gaming, actually.
Yeah, and his opponent down in the bottom right from Splice, it is Solar, the purple Zerg.
I feel like they should have switched colors, but this is what we have been given, and you can tell by the way it is. That's my advice for today. But it is just going to be this gateway expand. I think I see herO do this basically every single game that he wants to play safely, especially versus Zerg. You want to get your wall up, and I think previously it was classically like a Forge expand where you'd also have the gateway there, but we don't like to build forges at our walls anymore, Valdez.
That's a thing of the past, unfortunately. It was always very fun to see players do some crazy shenanigans at the naturals of the Zergs. I know the Zergs didn't really enjoy it, but we enjoyed it as spectators of the sport. He is actually going double gate here.
Wow.
Instead of just one.
So yeah, 2-gate before expanding. I'm still expecting him to throw down that Nexus inevitably, but first we got to get things like Cybernetics Core up and all kinds of crazy shenanigans like that. Of course, not crazy at all because you build it every game. So yeah, a little bit of extra pressure here from herO, and probably not too easy of a way for Solar to scout out that this is exactly what's coming his way. Overlords are pretty slow, so as a Zerg player, unless you're just really scared, you probably won't get a scout of the opening build unless you drone scout.
See that herO with the heavy mineral mining only takes 1 gas, and I think there was 1 probe in that for quite a while. So has enough to throw down all those mineral intensive buildings. In fact, none of them costing any gas, but now he's probably going to start mining some of that gas a little bit sooner as he needs to make Adepts, everybody's favorite unit.
The most surprising thing, apparently, for our Korean commentators who just really think that those depths are super great. Of course, it is because this probe is coming down here. Going to be building what might amass to be a proxy Stargate, although, like you were saying earlier, Valdez, without early probes in that gas, maybe thinking about something else. Could be a Twilight. We got to see proxy Twilight into DT rush from, I think that was Stats last week, if I'm correct. So, wouldn't be surprised. Of course, that was PvP. We'll see what that probe is up to down on the bottom of the map as these depths come out to get their first little bit of scouting.
Yeah, just making 2. It looks like he only followed up with 1 as well. He wanted to put that gas, save it up for the Stargate that he is making down in the bottom of the map. So, Solar, he's going to come to the front and see double gate. 2 gateways here and say, oh crap, I got to prepare against adepts. I need to make lings. I don't need to make spores because I don't really know that he's making a Stargate just yet. So herO might just be distracting him for now and might swing by with an Oracle.
Zergling speed, 10 more Zerglings on the way right now, Valdez. So maybe preparing for that. But, you can see those 2 gates at the opening and be like, okay, well, wow, maybe this is what I need. But he's not going to see this proxy Stargate coming. And even though there might be a lot of adepts to sort of take the pressure off from the ground, I mean, of course, we know that these Oracles are going to be pretty effective. First one just now on the way.
Look at what he's doing, too. The placement of the Twilight is right underneath that Overlord. He's saying, hey, I'm going Twilight. And if Solar doesn't know the exact timings of, exactly how much gas he was mining, and he doesn't really because he haven't had an Overlord in the base the entire time. So he might definitely be tricked here. He is making an extra queen for now, still no spores, and that first Oracle is already done.
Oh man, it's going to be heading over there unless he decides to pool those. Doesn't send it. Okay, there it is. Moving over, wasn't rallied immediately. But yeah, a few Zerglings poking at the front, but this wall is basically impenetrable. And here comes a very, very lonely Oracle that's about to make some friends.
Yeah, Solar caught completely off guard from this, getting already 4 kills. We'll swing by, try to get a 5th, but nice cancel there by Solar.
There's no queen over here. Oh my god, it's just the best place for the Oracle to be. This is like when the Pyro puts on his Pyro glasses. He just sees everybody as his best friend, but instead he's burning everything to death, just like that Oracle did. 6 kills getting in there, and a second one on the way.
Yeah, we'll see what this one can get done. You could see 3 spores were coming down, but they're not ready yet.
Man,
so there's only 1
halfway
queen
down.
here.
What? Okay, well this is going to be more drone kills if you wanted to sacrifice that, but instead decides to keep it alive and let it regenerate those shields. So not continuing on that Oracle production, instead heading him over into probably 1 Phoenix just to push around the Overlords.
He can't find the Stargate. Those lings were running around the bottom side of the map and they couldn't find the Stargate.
Dumbest lings of all time. It's like, what if we go over here? Oh, no Stargate. What if we go over? And they never find it.
There's this 1 ling. He should be able to find it here. Okay, finally.
Hey, there we go. So might need to pull the Oracles over there to keep 2 Zerglings from unpowering that. Going to get a free Overlord kill as it does come in to scout. Could overcharge to kill it before it sees the tech. Just kidding. That's not where the tech is. But yeah, it does need to get those Oracles over there before that Stargate gets unpowered.
It's funny. He's actually just letting it die.
He's just going to sack his Stargate over there? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's a good thing to have, just for later part of the game. But here's the follow-up, though. It is going to be a Glaive Adept push, and probably could warp them in from that proxy pylon, but instead, I'm not sure, where's the reinforcement point here for herO's army, or is he just going to go in and let this be it? Is there a pylon right behind that I didn't see?
No, that's an Oracle just chilling by itself.
Okay, yeah, that's not a pylon. That is, in fact, an Oracle. So I'm not sure where he's going to be warping in reinforcements or what this is kind of designed to do. Maybe it's just containing Solar.
It's basically just pressure, some containment, as you were saying. He wants to deny a 4th base for as long as possible. He wants to force as many Lings and Banes as possible as well. He's got 3 Nexi up. He has 3 bases. He's totally comfortable. Should easily be able to get this Storm out. Yeah. And that huge swell of drones that we had out of Solar was super late compared to herO's economy. So herO in a fantastic spot so far.
Yeah, Solar kind of not really feeling too pressured either, although this might make him a little bit more concerned. Always love it when big revelations tag a ton of units. These 2 Zerglings are going to kill the Stargate too. Oh my god, those guys are clocking in for a 10-hour shift.
Got to be paid overtime, man. They deserve it.
Not too much overtime, otherwise those Zerglings get fired. But those are retail Zerglings.
Seems like herO didn't really care about his Stargate, though, so... You know, didn't seem too important.
Not
Maybe
a
the
good
job
time
was
to be a Stargate in herO's army.
Maybe it wasn't that important after all. Solar won't pay him too much.
Okay, well here comes continual pressure, and with that number of adepts at the front, it's enough to kind of respect and maybe stop Zerglings from just completely running by it. But still kind of interesting to see this be quite as effective at containing Solar. Although somehow this one Zergling just kind of gets in and gets to run around. Ooh, flashlights, the deadliest.
Burned his eyes out. Then all of a sudden the Zergling
eyes?
Exploded. They have a lot of feelers, so maybe they don't have eyes.
Yeah, but they don't. Well, they have like those eye sockets, but I believe they classically just show up as glowing. So I don't know if that's just like phosphorescent ooze inside that's somehow contained. But they definitely don't have eyeballs. So I'm sure the etymology experts out there know better than I do.
Maybe they can tell you. The lore or etymology experts.
It's entomology, right?
Entomology? I'm not
study
sure.
Of ants, right? Well, etymology
You're the
is word combining forms. But anyway, all right, we're moving on to actual StarCraft. Fourth base up and running for Solar. He has yet to get those 2 gases there, but what he does have about to complete is Baneling speed and that, Hydra speed as well.
Yeah, but I feel like it's all too late. He's stuck on this composition of Lings and Banes, and he's trying to hit a timing here of sorts. I mean, he has 77 drones, so it's not really much of a timing. Looks like he just wants to pressure the third, but we already have Storm about to complete. herO should be fine.
Yep, I believe he has 4 High Templar warped in, each of which should at least have 1 Storm apiece. So that might not sound like a lot, but it feels like a lot when you have nothing but Hydras and Banes trying to run into it. What I believe he also has, is 3 full energy sentries, so there's going to be plenty of force fields to zone out this totally ground-based composition from Solar.
Yeah, and Solar, he's just trying to max out. He's done enough droning. He has 4 bases. He's getting a 5th, so he's not in a terrible position either. I'm kind of worried that he's not teching up at all, and he's trying to actually do a ton of damage to herO here when it looks nearly impossible when you look at this composition of herO.
I mean, this is like that 66 drone. He's got 75, but that Hydra Bane all in. It was a very popular strategy versus Protoss. They've had a lot of time to practice and kind of figure it out. That's why you can see such great Sim City by herO's base.
The army's out of position. herO's not here on time, and so the Banelings are going to run forward.
Great Storms, though, will take out a bunch of those Banelings, but more rolling in will catch those sentries.
Will that Nexus go down is really the question here. I've got the Observer PC. Seems pretty healthy still. All of its shields are down, but still has a lot of health. Really relying on those Storms. You can see Solar. He's trying to dodge out of it.
Great Storms there on the Hydras. They're very, very weak, but there's just nothing left over except the Immortals in the backline. Now finally some Zealots coming up from behind, but that's a lot of Banelings rolling in to take them out.
Not enough Banelings. Nice job by herO to pull back those Zealots and save them, but a great thing done here by Solar. He takes out that Nexus and is going to keep herO on 3 bases for now, so it seems the pressure is going to work out after all.
Yeah, everything's going to die for herO's or for Solar's army though, so he will lose that all. And this is a very strong Protoss force coming across the map. There's going to be a couple of Storms. Zealots pressuring up to the 3rd. That'll draw Solar's forces away, while the main army from herO goes into that 4th base.
Look at this attack. It's like Archons and Immortals. I guess that's all he really needs. All those Immortals should be able to take out these buildings incredibly quickly.
Yeah. And what do you call a semicircle of Archons, Valdez?
An arc of Archons?
Archons, of course. It just makes sense. So pressuring down that base will take it out, so turnabout, fair play, as they say. And now forcing the rest of Solar's army up onto the high ground to defend between his 3rd and the 4th. Well, now 4th.
Yeah, we got 6 Archons available. Solar trying to go for the surround. Not too many Storms are available, and he's only hitting Hydras.
Yeah, Banelings do roll in, but I think it just made a little bit of a dent on those Immortals, who will be living up to the name. Plenty of Zealots to buffer in front, but the Immortals are still alive, and with Archons to buffer behind and now in front, those Banelings just roll into their untimely demise. GG! herO takes game number 1.
And it was a bit of a rocky defense there from herO at his 4th base. But at the same time, he played it smart. He was like, okay, I'm not sure if I can take this fight. That is a crap load of Hydras. I need to make sure that I can actually take this fight before I do. So he, in a sense, sacrificed his Nexus and was like, okay, I can give that up. I just need to make sure I win the fight. I can go counterattack. and that's exactly what he did. He won the game. That pressure that he put on early with the Adepts, the Oracles at a really weird timing. Cool build overall by herO.
Yeah, I think Solar kind of had the wrong idea at that point. He was like, okay, well, I'm going to go in and either kill his base or kill his army. And ultimately, you could see herO kind of backing up. That Nexus survived for like a little bit too long. And Solar committed to killing the Nexus, but herO recognized that as an overcommittal. And once Solar lost all of his forces, there just really wasn't that much to defend. So pushing in takes out herO's 4th base, or I guess 5th base was coming up at the same time. But then rolls up, and there's nothing there to defend. So a great army composition as well by herO. He had the storms coming way ahead of time, so just knew exactly what was coming his way, and then had a great composition to take out Solar in game number 1.
Yeah, so I was saying it before, this would be the matchup that I would expect an upset here for herO to take over Solar. He's looking good so far. I like his prepared builds. He really seems to thrive in this kind of format, whether it be Challenge or Premier. He always has these really nicely prepared builds, and because it is herO, he gets them really fine-tuned, and then he does it over and over again with like slight differences. So looking forward to a fun build in game number 2 as well. Let's jump into that right now. Here we go. Going into Frost for game number 2. The Protoss player winning game number 1 in the bottom right. It is Root Gaming's herO.
All right. Yeah, looked very, very good. Always sort of one step ahead there. Proxy Oracle, not doing that much damage, but definitely throwing this player off. This is, of course, Splice's Zerg player, Solar.
Spawning vertical spawns here. Not going to have any cross spawns long game.
Spawn. Vertical spawn. Just got to go with it. You got the meter and the tempo there. Yeah, but we'll be throwing down, I think, Hatch first against what should be a pretty standard 1 gateway expand here. Oh, hiding that the drone in case there was one of the very first probes sent out. Waiting to see exactly what direction Solar, or herO rather, wants to go. The 2 gates, I think, was kind of what confused Solar a little bit. Start in game number 1. He finally got the Overlord over there, and he's like, oh, I should be expecting some pressure. Nothing really ever came. Those Adepts, even the follow-up Adepts, just kind of zoning out there and kept Solar in his base.
Yeah, Solar did, in a sense, over-prepare. The Twilight Council, it eventually got the Resonating Glaives, but it wasn't part of some really quick timing attack that he had to prepare for and freak out about, but that's exactly what herO made him do. So in the end, I think it was herO being the trickster and Solar being a bit duped in that one. Did he see
Oh
that?
no, he was just a second early. That's actually a really cool timing that you can hit there. herO was trying to do, you send the probe all the way up, and that should come in at exactly the same time as the Overlord if your opponent spawns above you. So you always got to keep in mind, hey, if my opponent is somewhere out there, where would they be at this moment? And pro players like herO know exactly that timing, or almost exactly that timing in this case.
Yeah, and you can see he goes for the horizontal spawn scout. So when he sees no hatchery, he's going to be like, oh, okay, we're going cross spawns.
Little does he know he's getting 1-based, and he will never find out about it.
Yeah, another expansion in another universe.
No, his first base is on the high ground cross positions. That's where his expansion is. He'll never scout it. We did see Solar go for a proxy hatchery last week, so this would be probably not the greatest opportunity to go for it, but instead it will be an early 3rd coming down for Solar.
You got a Stalker coming out here from herO. You don't see this all of the time against Zerg, and generally it's to push away the Overlords because you want to hide some tech. And with that Twilight Council about to finish, he has enough to go into DTs, but he could go for some kind of weird 2-base timing with some Twilight tech too. Let's see what he wants to go for here.
Looks like we're setting up for perhaps a Zergling drop. We got a chance to see that from herO last week. As a way, or not from herO, from Solar.
Yeah.
Lol. And it was actually,
I was about to say.
It was pretty effective. We've seen it really commonly, I think, from Leanox been pulling that out in like every single online tournament. Losira tried it as well in GSL, if I'm recalling that correctly. So it's usually pretty popular or effective against Protoss players. See if that's what we have coming up. But yeah, preparing sort of maybe reflexively for the Oracles. Stargate hasn't even started. Well, there it is, and the Spore Crawler's already coming down.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a later timing, so Solar's going to have those spores super early, and that one Stalker is not going to be able to push away the Overlords if they have speed. So you're not getting a shot of this. Finally, you do get a shot of it. Solar did get a full scout of the main. He sees everything that's going on. Yeah,
Overlord speed, a great way to scout absolutely everything, and one Stalker, like you said, will not be able to push it out. Still waiting to see if he's going to commit to that drop tech here in just a little bit. I see that as very, very popular in this matchup. I was just watching, I forget what it was, what tournament was it, Ravens Cup? I don't know, something wacky online the other day, and I just saw Zerg ZVP do this twice in a row. I was like, oh, okay, well, at least it's not just one tournament, it's quite a few. But at least what we have coming out right now, a big swell of Lings right as Phoenixes are being built. You know what that means, Valdez?
Going for a drop?
No, I didn't actually have anything. I just like to set that up every once in a while. He could be going for it off. I don't know. The Phoenix is being built here. Lings, of course, a great counter to Phoenixes because you just can't pick up all of those guys.
Yeah, very true, and he is setting up for it on the left side. These Adepts just going to scout. I wouldn't shade there. Would not be a good idea.
A wily Lyote.
Drop.
Feels good. Knew it was coming out there somewhere. Once again, don't shade there. Here comes the drop. It's a totally undefended base that these Zerglings are about to be dropped into, but it will be scouted out by a pylon.
There's nothing back at home right now for here. He's going to have to rely on warp-ins.
Yeah. Does have another cycle coming up right now. Those will be warped in, but they do take some damage as they come out. It looks like he wants to scout instead of going for that harassment. Might look for a cheeky probe kill here or there.
He's going to get a decent amount. 4 probes for the 8-lings. Not bad. This Overlord will be pushed back eventually, and you can see what that pressure does. herO has to pull everything back, and definitely gives time for Solar to build up that economy, get those 3 bases saturated, take all of his gases, get the layer up that he's actually getting pretty late in this game. Doesn't need it quite yet. And it looks like he's going for Ling Bane Hydra once again. We saw him get the very early melee upgrades in game number 1. He went all the way up to +2 in that game, and it almost worked. We'll see if he has a better chance this time, as it's more of an even game starting out here.
Now, he's going to have to face this Phoenix Adept pressure before. I wouldn't shade there either. Okay, good. I'm like, well, let's pick a unit to not shade on top of, and that would be the Baneling, of course. Just a suggestion, guys, if you want to try that out for yourself. That's going to be that hot stove people tell you not to burn yourself on, just in case. I had a lot of people tell me that when I was first starting to play StarCraft. They were like, try this build, it's really good. I was like, no. I will figure it out. My Silver League logic, I'm like, let me try this battle cruiser only, and then that doesn't work. So I burned myself on the stove quite a few times, metaphorically speaking there. But Phoenix Adept, it's been around for a while. It'll probably just always be with us. But while that is sort of faded out, this Ling Bane Hydra composition seems to remain very popular.
He hasn't made the Hydra Den just yet. I would assume that's coming up, but he is making a fourth hatchery in his main as a macro hatchery. He's making only Lings so far, still no Hydra Den.
Okay, yeah, you do have to shade those eventually, yeah. Adepts will get out of there, so they do come back out. Finds the Zerglings also returning back home, so kind of interesting to see what Solar has in mind, because he doesn't have that Hydra Den like you were saying. Instead, it's Infestation Pit coming up. Going to land those big fungals on the Phoenixes.
Yeah, you can go for some infestors for sure. Might want to go into Hive Tech. You know, Ultralisks are pretty good against Phoenixes, I've heard, if you can get up to them. And maybe just relying on Ling Bane and eventually Infestor to get up to there. Ooh, a bunch of Adepts are surrounded.
Wow. Yeah, that is just not that great. If you lose your Adepts on the ground, then all of a sudden your Zerg opponent just builds a bunch of Zerglings, and the Phoenixes, they try to pick them all up, but it's like that Lemons meme. And it's like, why can't I hold all these Zerglings? Well, because you only have Adepts in the air.
This is a really strange build from Solar. I want to say it seems like if he attacks right now, we can call him a genius and say, okay, this is right before Storm finishes. That was a really crazy timing, right on point. But
yeah,
he lost so many drones. 14 drones died. He only has 53 in total. He's not going to be able to saturate the fourth base, and here we go.
Double overcharges, trying to roll through the pylons, morphs the High Templar, so no storms will be coming out of those.
And he gets the full surround on those morphing Templar, on the morphing Archons as well. So maybe he was the genius. Maybe this was the timing he was trying to hit right before Storm, and it's going to work out. It's going to shut down this third base, easy peasy.
Well, it's not going to be checkmate, but the King's looking a little bit wobbly, and that's going to do it. Solar, with the truest Alpha Brain build, will in fact take out herO. You saw the futile attempt there of those Phoenixes trying to take the Zerglings into the air, into the great beyond, but turns out there were very many of those, and that'll give Solar the victory to tie up our series at 1-1.
You were talking about the double Stargate Phoenix and what you can do against that. You know, obviously Fungals are good against that. Obviously Hydras are good against that. But you know what's also good against that? Tons of Banelings and Lings, as you were saying. So if you just make enough and your opponent is going double Stargate Phoenix, I guess that works, especially when herO expands towards you, which just makes it that much easier.
It does. It looked pretty easy. All of a sudden, I was watching those the Phoenixes fly around. You always sort of have to keep account in your mind. It's like, how effective are these things being? They run in, they get like 15 probe or drone kills. I'm like,
they look pretty damn effective.
Yeah, they're running around. They're killing overlords, and they're still getting everything done. And then all of a sudden, you see that swell of like 28 Zerglings. You're like,
yeah,
I don't know, man. There were several Zerglings there, Valdez, I counted.
And you know what also the problem was that attack we saw off screen where I think a bunch of Adepts got surrounded. We don't know exactly how many Adepts died in that attack. Maybe Solar was just like, I killed 8 Adepts, I can just go kill you because I know you're transitioning into Storm because every Protoss does that. So maybe that was what spurred on that attack as well.
Great timing, got the High Templar to morph instantly and just ran right past those 2 overcharged pylons, killed everything off, and that was about it. So 1-1 the score here, getting into our final match of tonight. Looking forward to seeing who will come out on top, herO versus Solar.
Here we go, going into game number 3, it is on Overgrowth. Up in the top right, Root Gaming's herO, the yellow Protoss, suffering a blow in game number 2.
Yeah, well, several blows. Every Zergling getting a few of those in. This one's for those drones! And his opponent here, this is Solar.
Game paused.
Apparently needs a little bit of a pause here. We haven't invented the technology just yet to have a cool pop-up come up and show us why that pause exists there, but hopefully we'll be able to get that out there, or at least find a reason why.
It's funny how the technology comes and goes, depending on what you're watching, but...
Got to find the reason things went wrong inside Solar's booth.
I heard the Korean commentators remarking about something, you know, maybe that Solar was going for an early build. I didn't notice anything myself, but
he
maybe...
He cancels his first drone being built. He's like, oh, didn't mean to. I don't know.
He's got a little smirk on that might denote that he's a little bit embarrassed. But if it's your mistake, I mean, there's nothing they can do.
It's like, we're using my Terran hotkeys for this game. I don't know. I mean, everything seemed fine every other time. It doesn't look like, in fact, we have much to fix. So we should be just going right back into game here pretty soon. Do definitely want to get this underway because apparently he said that there were some equipment settings that needed to be readjusted, but it appears as if he has thusly readjusted those settings and now is prepared to play the beautiful game we call StarCraft.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you need to readjust. You need to get comfortable.
Just did that in my chair.
It happens.
You just did that in your chair?
We did.
We're all readjusted. We're ready to go. So deciding game here, a lot of times we just think, oh, this guy won the series, this guy lost the series, but there is $100 or 100,000 won on the line every single time. One player gets 300,000, the other player gets 200,000 if I'm not mistaken, right?
For Premier, it's 1 million Korean won per game, or rather per series. So the winner, if they win 2-0, they get 800 and the loser gets 200. If they win 2-1, then the winner gets 700 and the loser gets 300.
Oh my god.
Got
That's
that
so
money.
much money.
That's why Innovation already has 1.6 million Korean won, because he
Oh
went
my
2-0 in both of
God.
the series.
That's just so much money.
Double 800, baby.
You could win almost $1,000 every time you. Actually, it's more like what, $600? I think it's like $600.
Yeah, it's like 650 with the current exchange
But for
rates.
winning a best of 3 every week, that's a lot of money. So glad we clarified that. There's a lot of money on the line here. So let's keep an eye on what's coming up. We've already got Gateway completed, another one on the way, and chronoing the Gateway for a reason.
Well, he's not making any probes, so I guess he's just doing that ahead of time.
Okay, yeah, just gotta keep an eye on that. Once it produces a unit, that unit will come out slightly faster. There we go, 2 adepts.
Doing the same 2-gate build that he did in game number 1. Let's see if Solar is duped this time, or if herO will just skip the proxy Stargate entirely.
Yeah, this build is exactly what it looks like. So he sees it, and now all of a sudden he thinks to himself, wait a second.
I need some spores.
Yeah. This is the true mind game. This is way down at the end of that Alpha Brain meme. It's like you show the double gateway, and then you go into Stargate, and then you wait until the next game, until the final game of the series, and that's when you build no Stargate. And you just come out with a bunch of adepts, and he's got spore crawlers in his Mineral Alliance. Nice. All right, so the 2 adepts will come out here, just getting a little bit of scouting information. There are 8 Zerglings on the way with speed about halfway done, so this should be good enough to at least push them off the front. Although I think herO is just going to actually send them all the way. Ooh, no, decides to cancel the shade.
Yeah, look at what he's doing. He's just killing a bunch of Lings at the front and forcing a crazy amount of Lings early on in the game with just 2 adepts. And this is because herO, or rather Solar, he did see the double gate. He has to prepare this way. And it kind of sucks if you're the Zerg player.
It sucks for now, but at the same time, you kind of have to think as the Zerg, if I defend this, if I build this swell of Zerglings, even if maybe it costs me a couple of drones now, once I get my economy going, it's just going to be more than the Protoss should be able to produce. Especially if, as a Zerg, you can find some way to maybe hinder their 3rd base from coming up, because that is a little bit of a vulnerable window for Protoss, depending on what build you're going, obviously. So, see what's coming up already. The Evo Chamber on the way, so where is that pesky Stargate? Does not look like that's the route to go this game, as Glaives are on the way.
Yeah, he's going to get the earlier Glaives research with this build. He's only making 3 gateways. They're all at the front. But herO, he killed the Overlord that was close to the main. So Solar might second-guess himself. You see, he's making some more Lings. He's not 100% sure what the build is yet from herO. And that can be a scary time right now for Solar. He definitely has to prepare for something just in case.
So herO was able to take out Dark pretty well last week, and actually taking out that Overlord almost as easily as he took out Dark. It was a 2-1, so maybe not that easily. But not actually a lot scouted out here. The observers were pointing out there that Solar was unable to see if herO was mining gas off of his 2nd extractor at the or assimilator at the natural, so won't know exactly what's coming up by counting the resources.
herO, he's sticking on a low number of probes, and he's going for the same timing with the Adepts, just walking on in. You can see the reaction out of Solar. He doesn't have a Baneling nest yet, and there's still no mining at the 3rd base. He's just going to roll on in, take out the 5 drones, get out alive with every single Adept. You can see the Speedlings are on the chase.
Yeah, so Solar immediately, huge swell of Lings right away. Baneling Nest completes, and so we're actually going to have a huge morph here. Okay, well, it's only 3, but yeah, Baneling is being morphed here, and this should actually be defensive Banelings instead of trying to go aggressive off of that. Kind of also interesting to see that herO is not pushed out for a 3rd base of his own right now. There it is. Okay. Man!
It was coming.
Okay.
You're just ahead of the game. That's what you got to think.
I am, man. I'm the Sega Dreamcast of casters. Sega Dreamcast.
You knew it was coming.
Yep. I get the best Sonic game, but then I also just only get to be around for like 1 year. Born too late to explore the universe. Born just in time to don't know, make dank games, I guess.
Spread dank memes, I guess.
Well, I mean, it did have a lot associated with it, but
yeah,
it was pretty good.
So herO, he put on that pressure once again. He cut down the economy of Solar pretty nicely. I mean, he forced a bunch of lings, the Baneling nest, to come out, and Solar hasn't really done much with it, whereas herO just got an expand right on time, has that wall up. Definitely pretty hard to attack into that third base on Overgrowth if you can get the wall up as Protoss with their gateways.
Be careful with that Prism. Kind of flew a needlessly queen-rich pathing out of there, but it will retreat and get a chance to come in from a different angle. Just being annoying, being pesky while he gets his third base up right now. That's all all herO's doing. Still have yet to see totally what the tech is. I mean, it does have Blink on the way, so also a little bit strange. That Immortal Archon composition that he went for in Game 1 seems super effective, so see what it looks like this time around. Banelings will get a connection here with these Adepts, though.
Look at what he did, though. He snuck those Adepts in between the minerals, and he just targeted as many drones as possible. So Solar, he wanted to be up at around 70, or rather 67, struggling with my math here on cast, drones when he was going into the attack, but now he's going to have to remake some of those and actually take a fourth base.
So I thought Solar was actually going to counterattack off of this, but instead he is once again descending down the rungs of the Zerg build orders and choosing to hang back and save all of his units and power them up with these upgrades that are just now starting. So he's getting Hydra Speed, Bane Speed +2 on the way, and this is going to be that really hard-hitting Hydra Bane style that he was attempting to do in game number 1. herO was a lot more ahead in that situation, so see how it works out for Solar this time around.
Yeah, herO also is taking a totally different route to dealing with this. He's getting Blink and extra gateways. He's going to go up to 8 gates in total, pretty standard for 3 base, and he's going for an attack before the attack of Solar is ready. So I think maybe he noticed that the gold would come up, or maybe he just knew, and he's got Blink and a ton of Immortals at this point. Now it's Solar that should be the one that's worried in this situation.
This is a big timing. herO needs to hit before this Hydra Speed, Bane Speed, and +2 finish. If those upgrades all complete here, Solar crushes herO's army. However, it's going to pressure this third base, and all Solar needs to do is just buy time for these upgrades.
Well, he's going to buy time for the upgrades for sure, but he will lose that third base, and that's really, really bad. You see he's going for the attack now, trying to stay on creep. There's Banelings in the Overlords.
Oh no, here we go. Lots of probes going down in the background, but look at these Colossi shredding through the Zerglings. So many Stalkers, and even though Blink's completed, he doesn't even need to use it.
Oh, he blinked forward there. That might have been a mistake. He's going to get a ton of Banelings right on his army. And that was the biggest mistake herO could have made in this series.
What was the sign that was somebody raised in the audience for Dark last week? It was arrogance, carelessness aren't allowed. Do your best to the throne again or something? Well, that was a little bit like arrogant there. herO choosing to aggressively blink forward, and then, as if shark fins out of the water, the drop overlords come in and Baneling busts his entire army down. Absolutely great timing there by Solar, and not that great by herO, losing his entire army, but he does take out that third.
If he just kept microing back with his Blink and took a good trade, he would be in a fantastic spot right now. Transitioning into Colossi, he knows the build, he knows the tech of Solar. The Colossi are going to be fantastic. He might still be able to get them up, and Solar will stick on just Ling, Bane, Hydra, which is not going to be good against double Robo Colossi, but he's got a small window here where he can attack before there's too many Colossi out. We'll see if he takes it, as he is roaming.
And that window is becoming smaller and smaller, and that's like SMOL. Like, that's how small the window is. Yeah, exactly. Just like cats. So this marauding force here from Solar is just going out on the map and saying, look, don't fight me. I'm getting my bases up. I'm getting fully saturated. You lost your army, so now you can't do anything. And there's a couple of different routes there. You can be the Zerg player that says, hey, I'm going to go kill you. And actually, now that I look at it, there's 28 Zerglings on the way. So it looks like that is actually the route that Solar's taking.
That's the idea here. And we do see that herO, he's just trying to rely on force fields to stay alive. But Solar, what he might want to do is just go for the fourth base, cancel it, poke a little bit, hit some mineral lines with some Banelings as he's distracting. We'll see if, this is definitely going to go down 100%. But the drop coming in, it looks like herO's ready for it this time.
All right, dropping a few of those Banelings out, gets everything out, but the Nexus, I think, actually just died. Not the greatest force field to keep the Hydras out, but the Banelings will roll in.
Oh, man, he did it. He distracted him in a different way. He didn't get the Baneling drops on the probes, but he got the Baneling drop on his army right at the third base. And that's pretty huge for Solar. He takes out all of those sentries. He's going to have to get something to deal with these Colossi, of course, but he's buying himself so much time to tech up.
That's all he needs. Wow, that's actually a Lurker. Okay, well, he's going to be Lurkers coming up next as that Hydralisk Den is morphing out there. Colossi are great to defend against that. With the narrow chokes from the SimCity, great decision-making there by Solar, not to push in for the win, but to realize he got a ton of damage done, just pull back and power up.
Yeah, definitely, and the Lurker Den is interesting. He has a lot of Hydras on the map that aren't going to be good against the Colossi, so maybe he wants to convert a bunch of them and just try to zone herO out of a fourth base once again, or just try to take a good fight. The Lurkers are pretty good on overgrowth in general, but you can see he's also getting a bunch of different tech at the same time. He's getting Spire, Infestation Pit.
He's just building everything. herO knows that the clock, as they say, is ticking. That's what clocks do. Only if you have an annoying clock. That's like the black switches of clocks.
Yeah.
And so he knows he has to get something done, but he just has no army. So this will ultimately lead in failure. And right now, if any of you kids had your parents force you to take music lessons, this is what we like to call the denouement. That's when it tones down at the end. You have the climax, and you have sort of like the swan song. There we go. It's another analogy. But the Banelings roll in. They miss the force fields completely. The Colossi will get surrounded. And okay, there's some pretty good force fields, but there's just not enough here for herO. And Solar will roll through his entire army.
You can see herO. He's trying his best to micro his heart out, and the Colossi got some decent hits. But as you said, the force fields were not good. They were pretty terrible. He didn't have enough. They were not on time. And herO just trying to make his last stand in this game.
That's like who's the guy that did or is Beyond with the siege tank micro up and down in the shuttle or in the medevac. Well, this is the Protoss version of that. It's just a lot less effective. All right, we got some zealots, man.
They're just hanging out, not really doing too much.
They're zealous for something. Disruptors. How good can the hits be?
7 centuries. What? GG. Okay, that's going to do it.
Okay, all right. I'm glad that we ended that before I had to try to make an analytical decision about what the strat was coming up. And Solar takes it, and he will take the 800,000 won for, actually, no, it was a 2-1, so it's only what?
700,000
700,000.
Close enough.
It was close enough. And it was a very close series. Congratulations to Solar for just having great timings and ultimately being able to take it out 2-1.
herO, though, he was close. He was damn close, but the hubris at the end of it all, he was just like, no, I got you. I'm going to blink on your army. And that was really what killed him. He had that fight won just barely, and well, it just wasn't enough as he blinked right on top of the Banelings. Didn't expect it. It was well hidden by Solar. He kept it way in the back. And Solar wins in the end, so one prediction is correct so far.
Well, that's really interesting when we take a look at that, because Solar's overlords with all the Banelings that ultimately crushed herO's armies were so far back. That positioning is only good if your opponent greedily blinks in to crush your army. So either Solar was thinking like 3 steps ahead like a chess player, and it's like, well, if I show a weak army, then I know this guy and he'll blink on top of my army, and then that positioning from the overlords can come in and kill all of this stuff. That's like way out there, but herO's hubris, great word, Valdez, does inevitably lead to his untimely demise.
Yeah, so Solar, the guy we expected, does take the 2-1 victory. I believe we are going to go to a quick commercial break before we get into Alive versus Stats. That'll be a PVT coming up next. This is one that we definitely expected Stats to take. Alive's been really struggling so far in Premier.
I mean, I would say that Alive did have to match up against Innovation, so we'll see how he does in a different matchup when we come back.